But if you're a Salesforce professional, you should take PD1. You should learn the basics of Salesforce development because if you don't, you're missing half the puzzle.
Hey everybody, welcome. We are here again with Amy Morris, who has gone through the Cloud Code Academy Developer Kickstart program and is just an amazing Salesforce resource. If you haven't checked her out or looked her up, she's been going through and doing a lot of things in the Salesforce ecosystem, like Salesforce Saturdays. She works at different companies and just is active in the Salesforce community. But Amy, I want to kind of talk with you today on the overall journey that you've had in Salesforce, and especially how Cloud Code and Salesforce development has played a role in that. So we'll just kind of get started. Tell us more about yourself, give us your backstory, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So I've been kind of in the Salesforce ecosystem for about 3 years now, but that includes like the day I discovered Salesforce all the way until now, which I actually discovered it through a random networking event I went to, which happened to be a Trailblazer community group meeting. From there, I was on Trailhead and I wanted to learn everything. A year after that, after I landed my first Salesforce job, I realized pretty quickly that I wanted to understand more of the technical side of the platform because I felt that it would help me get more context, not just on what I can do as an admin, but what I could do if I knew more of the code. So I'd kind of seen Cloud Code, and some of the students who had gone through it had really good things to say. So I thought, why don't I do this too? Even though I'd never coded before, I thought it would be a good opportunity to start from scratch, see what I could do, and be a part of a program that's really comprehensive and teaches you all of it. It was challenging, but it was definitely worth it. It was it was a lot of learning really fast, and I felt that the program really helped me to understand what I was looking to learn.
So that's pretty awesome. And I want to dial in on something specifically, and it'll probably dive deeper into your backstory as well. So you didn't have any coding experience or Salesforce development experience before jumping into this program. So kind of tell us your backstory on the more technical side of things, like why you wanted and how you learned this development aspects of things, and if you had any other like previous coding courses or anything like that that helped you go through the program.
I had no previous coding courses. Um, I think maybe I probably during COVID when I was bored, I looked at some, but I would go through like one lesson and would have no idea what's going on. That was before I discovered Salesforce though. And then once I got kind of into Salesforce in my first job, I started to learn more about the platform and I thought that would be a good opportunity to revisit coding, specifically Apex, which is Salesforce based or important to being a Salesforce professional. Because I thought it could help me be a more well-rounded Salesforce professional and potentially use that in my job.
I think that's really smart. And it's funny that you say, like, okay, we have this timeline around COVID where you're trying to figure out what are the next areas you want to go to. You discover Salesforce from this networking event, and then it's like, all right, now I have. It's really important for me to learn the more technical aspect of things. So, have you seen in your current roles where it has been helpful to understand code or understand the more technical side of Salesforce?
It's been helpful, I mean, at a basic level, just to understand VS Code, because even if you're on a project and you're not in a technical role, you see your developers and more technical team members using these tools, deploying things to GitHub, and doing their developer tasks. And even if I'm not doing them, I think I can better understand what they're doing, have better conversations with them, and even assist in certain areas if needed, or even set up my own VS Code connected to the org now that I know how to do that. If I wanted to just download some org metadata to look at it in a different way or something like that. And that's something I've been able to do in my current role. Even though I'm still kind of in a BA role in my project, I think it'll also help as I move into my new upcoming role where I'll be a more technical admin.
Ooh, so that's a little exciting. Can you talk about this new role and potentially, what you're looking at and what you're what you'll be learning in this different role that you're taking on?
Um, I mean, I don't know for sure yet because I haven't started yet, but I'll be working directly with the CTO of a small company that implements Salesforce for real estate developers. Um, and I've already talked to him quite a few times. He's really smart on the technical side. So I think working with him, as well as having the foundational Salesforce admin and developer knowledge that I have, I'm hoping I'll be able to get more into into some of those technical things like, well, on the admin side, flows, um, but also understanding how the development side connects to everything. I think it will help in this role since I'm working with some more technical people.
Yeah, super interesting. And I've definitely seen that a lot, right? So if you look at my LinkedIn history, I end up going from job to job, always absorbing and learning from new types of people. So anytime that I make a job switch, I'm always looking for somebody who's, I'll say, smarter than me, somebody who potentially has a skill that I don't have that I can learn from. And we can learn from each other, of course, but there's always that aspect of learning from somebody who is in a different type of role or has done different things from you to just broaden your horizon and what you understand and what you know. So it's continue to building those skills up as you're going through. So I'm curious now on what your experience was as you were going through the program. Was it, well, you already said it wasn't super easy, but like, was it hard to keep up with the pace of the program? Did you like the instructors? We're looking for the good, the bad, and the ugly of going through the program.
It was hard to keep up with the pace because there's a lot of new information getting thrown at you at once, especially as someone who hadn't really done code before. I did my best to stay on top of it, and I think I did okay. I was done all the assignments before the end of the capstone, I guess, which was later on. But I think it was more about I knew I wanted to learn it, and so I just had to get through it. And the good thing I think about learning it when I did is I had some time to commit to it and really just tried to keep practicing. And if I ever got stuck, I'll admit I did ask ChatGPT, what's wrong with this or how do I fix this? I mean, the tool's there. Obviously, you don't want to use it to write your code. You want to know how to write the code yourself. But I think it's also important to consider that AI can be used as a tool to help as a reference, but not write your code. Um, so I did make sure that if I needed help, I went to other people in the class, but also sometimes used AI to just check over what I'd done or provide suggestions.
Yeah, in terms of using the tools, right? And we teach this a lot in the program as well. It's making sure that you know what's out there and know how to find the solutions to your problems, whether it's going to the community members, going to office hours, how to search on Google, or even using a lot of the AI tools, right? We don't want to completely stray away from them. But like you mentioned, the most important piece is okay, now that we have or we're using this tool, it's not just spitting out a bunch of garbage that we don't understand. You've gone through and you know the underlying fundamentals, you know how these things work, so you're able to learn from it. So use it as a learning tool instead of just something that is regurgitating stuff that you have no idea if it's working or not.
Yeah, and I think some people are saying AI will just be writing all the code in the future. And even if that's true, I think it will still always be important for people who can understand and read it, make sure that it works within the architecture of the org, because the AI might not have all that context. It's still going to be important no matter what to have people who understand code, I think.
Totally agree with that. And you mentioned something a little bit earlier, and that was on the capstone. Can you explain a little bit about what the capstone is and how you completed it?
Yeah, so it was that month-long project where we get a whole bunch of requirements and we have to build it out. So I did it in a team of three. My team was really awesome, and what I liked about the project is I got to do the triggers, the Apex triggers, because I like doing triggers. Automations are fun to me. Also because I'm passionate about doing flows. So to me, flows and triggers are similar. One is just something that's declarative within Salesforce, and one is obviously triggers are you write the code. Um, the Capstone itself, I think my team had meetings like almost every day for the first week, and then we realized we needed more time to actually work and do the code and get like really focused in our pieces. So then we started meeting less frequently and just like providing updates on if we were stuck on something. Um, and I think one of the hardest parts, honestly, was deploying things to GitHub and getting it all to fit together. And we had one meeting where we were trying to just merge conflicts in GitHub for like 2 hours. So you don't even really realize what pieces you need to like learn until you're actually doing a project. And that was pretty interesting to see. Like we can write the code, but does the code all fit together? And do we know how to push it to GitHub and make everything work and then deploy it to an org?
So the capstone is totally that kind of like culmination of all of the things that you've been learning throughout this, and you're totally right. It is a little bit different from getting the assignments that were more individualized to then going on a team and needing to bring all of that together. So you all did a great job in your capstone, and it's awesome just to hear that there's always things to learn, and you learn even more when you're working on a group, splitting things up, but then having to present and bring it all together in the end. So one other thing, and if you're on Amy's LinkedIn or kind of following her story, you see that she passed the Platform Developer 1 certification. So can you tell me about your like study process and how the program helped you learn for that certification?
Yeah, I think definitely having the hands-on coding experience is very important before you take PD1. And the program provided me that motivation for sure to have those assignments, and the hands-on lessons encouraged me to really learn the coding and do the coding. Um, and then a lot of that did translate to the exam. I do remember certain questions. I when I read them, I did think I would never have known how to answer this if I hadn't written an Apex class before or something like that. So it was definitely helpful. I do think that doing multiple choice exams versus writing code are also very different though. So I did find it help to do the focus on force practice exams for sure. So I would say do both of those things before you take the exam. The exam is also not easy, so make sure you've done quite a bit of coding and understand Apex and some of the other components as well as make sure that you understand when you're doing practice questions, why is the answer correct or why is it not correct? Understand the concepts. And then even after a lot of studying, I think I only passed by like 2 questions. So it's not easy, but I
Pass is a
passed. So
pass.
I guess that's what matters.
You hit the nail on the head with when you've talked about when you see the questions, especially the practice exam questions on like Focus on Force or wherever you see them, to really make sure that you're understanding why certain answers are correct or why certain answers are incorrect, because there may be a more correct answer, like three or four different choices. All of them are correct, but you want to pick the most correct one. So it's important to understand and break down the questions and the answers individually so that you can start to learn from all of that process that you're going through. And that's something that we really recommend in terms of the study strategy. It's not about just blazing through all of them, all of the practice questions and getting some sort of score at the end. You want to really understand what's going on. And a lot of that understanding comes from building out existing code and reading Apex and working on it yourself so that you can take that experience that you have and then translate it to the final exam.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what advice would you have for somebody who's watching this and is thinking about either getting into Salesforce development as more of a technical role, or even joining the Cloud Code program?
My advice to any Salesforce person who's interested in learning development, or even if you're not, I think this is my opinion, maybe not everyone agrees, but if you're a Salesforce professional, you should take PD1. You should learn the basics of Salesforce development because if you don't, you're missing half the puzzle. You don't have to be a developer, but you need to be, if you want to be a good Salesforce admin, you need to have the whole perspective. I've believed that since the beginning, and that's why I did it. Because even though I'm maybe just an admin or even an admin wannabe, because technically I'm still a BA in my role, I'm not an admin yet. I'm going to be at my new role. But I've always pictured myself as a technical admin, and I've always thought that it's been important to have the both skill sets, declarative and technical development. So putting all of that together, you can kind of just keep growing your skills. And I think it also prepares you if you want to go down the architect path, which is something I might want to do in the future. You already have that strong base on the technical side. If you keep developing your admin skills and, of course, like understanding how to talk to stakeholders, maybe having some of those business analysis skills are all important to keep growing as a well-rounded Salesforce professional.
100% agree. And you've already probably ticked one of the hardest boxes, which is that PD1 for that architect type of path. I know so many people who are just kind of stuck on that certification and the more technical side to achieve like system architect or application architect as they're continuing to learn through their process. So, Amy, this has been awesome to talk with you today and kind of hear your experience. One final question, like what are I'm always about like what's the next thing, and it's probably a little toxic, but what are some goals that you have now? What milestones or achievements are you looking forward to in the future?
I'm looking forward to starting in my new role, starting to do more technical admin work that will be definitely aligned with where I want to go next in terms of what I'm doing in my job. I'm also now studying for the advanced admin certification.
Nice.
So, hoping to get that in the next month or two. Um, and then maybe start thinking, depending on what's happening at my job, maybe I will start chasing one of the architect certifications. We'll see.
Awesome. Well, good luck with those. I know advanced admin is rough as well,
Great.
but you're totally going to knock it out of the park.
They're all kind of rough in their
You'll
own
knock it
way.
out of the park. Yeah, that is true. So yeah, I know you'll knock it out of the park, and it's been super great talking with you. Thanks so much for sharing your story with us, and I know we'll be hearing from you a lot more in the future. So if you haven't checked her out, links are down below for all of Amy's socials. If you want to follow her, chat with her, she's a great resource to just talk to and talk about all things Salesforce and development, BA, admin, architect, or just a well-rounded person as well. And you're in the Canada area,
Yes.
so that may also be something that can resonate with different folks that are here.
Thanks, Lauren. It was great to talk. I don't know how I'll stand that.
Awesome, great talking with you. There you have it. Salesforce development is one of the most important skills for anybody, any professional in the Salesforce ecosystem to learn. Amy really took that to heart and is now moving on to her next really amazing role in the Salesforce ecosystem from her hard work and also from learning development. So understanding those things on a fundamental level, which can take you many different places. Learning code does not mean you need to be a coder all day long. You can use it to amplify your current skill set, talk to your teammates better, and just understand requirements even better. So she is a perfect example of that and using all of her skills to go further in her professional journey. Some of you might be thinking, well, you are an admin right now and you want to learn development even deeper because you've seen those developer salaries. Well, check out this video over here where Derek does just that. He goes from an admin to a developer. I'm Walters954. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, I believe in you.